Part 3, Whispers of the Past. Hidden Truths. Nexus Station loomed ahead, its massive structure silhouetted against the starfield. Unlike the elegant designs of civilian stations, Nexus was purely functional, a sprawling research and military complex constructed in high orbit around Titan. Commander Blackwood stood on the observation deck, watching as they approached. They were still 6 hours from docking, which meant 6 hours to formulate a plan. The weight of Dr. Richmond's revelations pressed heavily on his mind. Beautiful, isn't it? The voice startled him. Turning, he found scientist Joaquin Rivera, one of the junior researchers assigned to Dr. Felton's team. Rivera was younger than most of the scientific staff, with a perpetual look of intensity about him. "I've seen bigger," Blackwood replied neutrally, studying the young scientist. "I didn't hear you come in." Rivera smiled thinly. "I move quietly. A habit from working with sensitive specimens." He stepped closer to the viewport. "I understand you've developed quite an interest in our new arrivals. Just concerned about their welfare. Standard protocol when recovering survivors." "Of course." Rivera nodded, though his expression suggested he didn't believe the commander's casual dismissal. "She's quite remarkable, isn't she?" "The child." Blackwood tensed slightly. "She survived months in an environment that should have killed her." "I'd call that remarkable, yes. I meant her connection with the creature." Rivera tapped his temple. "The way they communicate without words. Some might call it miraculous, but I suspect you know better." "Do I?" "You've seen it before, haven't you? Children like Lily." Blackwood kept his expression carefully neutral, though his mind raced. Rivera seemed to be probing for information, but to what end? "I'm not sure what you're implying, Scientist Rivera." "No implications, Commander. Just an observation." Rivera's eyes narrowed slightly. "Dr. Felton has scheduled the separation procedure for tomorrow morning. The creature will be sedated and moved to secure containment while the child undergoes comprehensive testing." "Separation procedure?" Blackwood's mask of indifference slipped. "On whose authority?" "Major Voss, naturally. With Captain Okafor's approval." Rivera studied Blackwood's reaction with clinical interest. "You disapprove?" "It's not my place to approve or disapprove," Blackwood replied stiffly, though anger coursed through him. "But I would remind the science team that the creature, Goliath, has shown no aggression while in Lily's presence. Separating them could change that dynamic." Rivera nodded thoughtfully. "True. But risk is inherent in scientific progress, wouldn't you agree?" He turned as if to leave, then paused. "By the way, Dr. Richmond asked me to give you something before she was transferred. Said it was personal effects you'd left in the lab." He handed Blackwood a small data chip. "Good evening, Commander." As Rivera's footsteps faded, Blackwood examined the chip. It wasn't standard military issue, too small, probably civilian tech. Whatever was on it, Richmond had wanted him to have it badly enough to risk using another scientist as a courier. He slipped the chip into his pocket and headed toward his quarters. Whatever was on it couldn't be viewed in public spaces. Memories echo. In the privacy of his quarters, Blackwood inserted the data chip into his personal terminal, bypassing the ship's main systems. A security measure, in case the chip's contents were sensitive, or worse, monitored. The screen flickered, then displayed a simple text message, "Voice activation required." Passphrase, "Nova Thera." "Nova Thera," Blackwood said softly. The screen changed, revealing Dr. Richmond's face. She looked tired, her usual composure frayed around the edges. "Commander, if you're watching this, I've been removed from the Artemis as expected. What I couldn't tell you in person is that I recognized Lily's genetic profile because I helped create it." She rubbed her temples wearily. 8 years ago, I was part of Project Synthesis, a classified program to develop human telepathic abilities for communication with non-human intelligence. It was meant to be purely diplomatic, a way to bridge the gap between species without relying on technology. Richmond's image sighed deeply. Lily was one of 12 children in the program. They were designed, not modified after birth, their genetic structure engineered to support neural pathways that most humans lack. The project was shut down when military interests began to dominate. The children were supposed to be placed with adoptive families, their abilities suppressed with medication. She leaned closer to the camera. But Lily's abilities were never suppressed. And I think she's been unconsciously broadcasting her presence to receptive entities. That's how Goliath found her, how he knew to protect her when the colony was attacked. Attacked? Blackwood murmured to himself. As if hearing his question, Richmond continued, the Nova Thera colony wasn't destroyed by natural disaster or environmental failure, Commander. The final logs I found indicate they were attacked by something they called the swarm, some kind of predatory collective organism. The same type of creature that killed the previous 3 colonies in that sector. Richmond's expression darkened. Voss knows this. He's not interested in Lily for herself, he wants to use her abilities to control Goliath and other beings like it. Weaponize them against the swarm. It's why they established colonies in that sector to begin with, they were bait. Blackwood felt cold anger settling in his chest. Human colonies sacrificed as lures, a child designed as a weapon, it violated everything he had sworn to protect. The other chip hidden in this package contains Nova Thera's complete records. I've also included a frequency that will sedate Goliath temporarily without harming it, might be useful if things go badly. Richmond's eyes met the camera directly. Be careful who you trust, Commander. Project Synthesis had high-level military backing. Voss isn't acting alone. The recording ended, leaving Blackwood in stunned silence. After a moment, he pulled out the second chip Richmond had mentioned and inserted it into his terminal. Thousands of files appeared, research data, personnel logs, security footage. He selected one of the video files labeled, Incident Day, Primary Defense Protocol. The footage showed Nova Thera's central plaza from a security camera. Colonists were running in panic as dark, insect-like creatures poured through the colony's outer barriers. The security forces were overwhelmed within minutes. Then, from one of the research buildings, a massive form emerged, Goliath, its armored body gleaming in the emergency lights. It moved with deadly precision, crushing the smaller creatures and forming a protective barrier around the research building. The footage shifted to an interior camera. Inside the building, a group of researchers huddled with several children. Lily was among them, her small face intense with concentration. As the researchers watched in amazement, she walked to the window and placed her hand against it. Outside, Goliath responded, moving to clear a path toward the building's entrance. She's controlling it, one of the researchers said in awe. Not controlling, replied another voice, older, more authoritative. Communicating. There's a difference. The camera panned to show the speaker, a distinguished-looking man in his 60s. With a jolt, Blackwood recognized Dr. Tobias Fleming, one of the most respected xenobiologists in the fleet, reported dead over a year ago. The symbiosis is establishing faster than we predicted, Fleming continued. The creature recognizes her as kin somehow. We need to evacuate, another researcher insisted. The swarm has breached the outer sectors. We have minutes at most. Fleming nodded grimly. Prepare the children for emergency cryotransport. Authorization Nova 7. The video cut out abruptly. Blackwood searched for more footage but found only fragmented files. Whatever had happened after that moment remained unclear, but one thing was certain, Lily had been the only child recovered from Nova Thera. Shadows of deception. A soft chime from his door interrupted Blackwood's investigation. He quickly removed the data chips and concealed them before answering. Lieutenant Patel stood in the corridor. Sir, Major Voss has called a briefing for all senior officers. Your presence is required immediately. What's the subject? Blackwood asked, already knowing the answer. Containment protocols for our unusual passengers. Patel hesitated. Sir, there's something else. I've been monitoring communications as you requested. A separate transport is being prepared in Bay 4. Heavily secured, medical equipment. For Lily, Blackwood said grimly. They're not waiting until we reach Nexus Station. Patel nodded. Scheduled departure in 3 hours. A small team of specialists arrived by shuttle an hour ago, they're prepping the transport now. Who authorized this? Blackwood demanded, though again, he already knew. The orders carry Central Command's highest clearance. Captain Okafor was informed but not consulted. Patel's expression was troubled. Commander, this goes against standard protocol for handling rescued civilians. It goes against a lot more than that, Lieutenant. Blackwood made a quick decision. Find Sergeant Reynolds and meet me in Cargo Bay 2 after the briefing. Say nothing to anyone else. Yes, sir. Patel hesitated. Commander, if I may, what exactly are we doing? The senior officers of the Artemis were already assembled when Blackwood arrived at the briefing room. Captain Okafor sat at the head of the table, his expression fixed in careful neutrality. Beside him, Major Voss stood reviewing data on a tablet, seemingly unconcerned by the tension in the room.